This week on MS Refresh, Microsoft Whiteboard gets some cool updates. Teams will soon let you default for opening Office apps, either in Teams or in the desktop app. And it was a relatively slow week, or news week, in the M365 roadmap, and that there ain't a bad thing. All that and more, subscribe to stay in the know. This is the MS Refresh Show. Hi there, and welcome to the Matt and Sean 365 Refresh Show. This is episode 26 for the work week of June 21st, 2021. Coming to you from the East Coast of the U.S., my name is Matt Wade.
I'm coming from the summery, beautiful, nice and balmy, 72-degree West Coast. Sean Bugler.
Aha, what's going on, Sean? How you doing?
Amazing weather. I'm doing pretty good. We're starting to go out and about a little bit more. So I had my first brunch yesterday, which was very nice. There's a spot out here in Oakland that's like a New Orleans style brunch. So there's beignets. Oh, love a beignet.
That's such an urban millennial thing to do.
It's a quintessential Bay Area experience. Is waiting for 2 hours for any brunch.
Living the life, and I can get a mimosa while I'm in line, that kind of thing.
Oh man, well, I'll tell you what. One thing that I hope sticks around from all of this is how fast and loose they're playing it with like delivery booze.
Oh yeah. Same here in New York, and it's official. It's not fast and loose. It's official that it's allowed.
Oh, it's locked in.
Oh well, I mean, as in an executive order for the time being.
Oh yeah, same here. But I want a law.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to really, really annoy the populace if they go back on that, because there's no reason whatsoever why we can't have that. Clearly the reason they couldn't do that was because our parents' generation couldn't be trusted with drinking and driving, but then our entire generation had to be drilled into us not to smoke and not to drink and drive, right? And they were reasonably successful. So the numbers are on our side is how I look at it.
Yeah, no, so I'm hoping that sticks around. What about you? How's your world?
Busy. Book stuff. Book comes out, I think, next week. I'm supposed to get it from Amazon next week, which would be pretty cool.
Boy, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to holding it. And then...
is that when the beard is coming off? Are you going on the record?
Yes, that's officially... as far as the girlfriend is concerned, yes, she wants it gone yesterday, and I keep telling her, careful what you wish for. You said you wanted a beard. You would always like a beard on me, and this is what you got. And you asked for it. So. I'm
surprised that you agreed to do it live on our next recording of this.
I did not do that. Yeah, I can't guarantee I'll even have it at that point, but it's not a bad idea. It's just stream that live whenever I get the book and go for it.
You got to do it for the YouTube.
Yeah, right. Got to get them likes and them subscribes. What else is new? I think you saw something recently, actually, that I thought was kind of cool. You want to jump into that?
I want to shake things up a little bit. We obviously have the news, and we're going to still do the news, but I thought there was something particularly relevant to this show that would be worth highlighting. So, of course, as you know, this is the MS Refresh Show, and the idea behind it is that we kind of talk about what's happening in the Microsoft 365 universe, and we tend to, our anchor is the Microsoft 365 roadmap. Of course, we talk about a lot of other things, the blog posts, we talk about the major events, but the Microsoft 365 roadmap tends to be kind of the heart of that. It lets us know what they're looking at, whether they're paying attention to certain things or not. So I follow this account on Twitter, and I have for a long time. And they, we'll talk about them a little bit, but they released this sneak preview. They actually leaked it. The Microsoft 365 roadmap is actually getting a visual overhaul. So this hasn't been announced by Microsoft. This is a leak. We're breaking news here. Yeah. So this is kind of interesting. What do you think, just based on what you're seeing here?
It looks like a polish. I think I see all the same buttons, frankly. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. Although, okay, so you're filtering from the top for platform and cloud instance. Yeah, I don't know. I guess if it's I don't know, if it's easier, that's always good. I keep pointing people to it at work, so if it makes it
clearly built with a mobile access point of view. It's clearly this is something that's going to scale a little bit more effectively on a mobile.
Say, hopefully it'll look better on an iPhone.
But you said the thing that was kind of stuck in my head, which is I hope this isn't just a fresh coat of paint. I hope this is actually, them focusing on process. Maybe they had to change something behind the scenes in order to bring it to life, and it couldn't match up against the existing system that they had
Yep.
So that'll be interesting.
Yep.
Again, like, so the no word on when that's going to hit, but it looks like they're pretty far along on the look and feel of it. So who knows?
Yeah, sounds good. All right, cool. Well, let's. Why don't we just hit it off right into the news? Sound good to you?
Let's do it.
All right.
This is the news.
Oh, yeah, it would help if I turned off the green screen part of it. Oh, starting things out with a bang. I love an interesting leak as much as anybody, and it looks like this one is particularly relevant to our show. As we just mentioned, according to noted Microsoft watcher Aggiornamenti Lumia on Twitter, an Italian account, the company is working on a visual overhaul to the Microsoft 365 roadmap site. The hope, of course, is that this isn't just a fresh coat of paint, but perhaps an indication of larger systemic changes on the way to help, change the way that the roadmap works today. A little blurry here. There we go. There's no indication, as I mentioned there. Let's jump onto the next one here. So participants in Teams and on Whiteboard for the web. Oh, is that not changing on here? Matt, I'm bringing you into this. Hang on a second here. There we go. I figured it out. Participants in Teams and on Whiteboard for the web will see a new, refreshed user experience starting later this year in August. This should make for an interesting update, as the visual collaboration space has seen some intense competition from the likes of companies like Miro, Mural, and Klaxoon. Only time will tell if Microsoft is trying to actively compete or whether this is just some much-needed maintenance for an underperforming product. Until then, the Whiteboard team isn't sitting on their hands. According to the roadmap, web templates should be arriving later this month. To hear it straight from Microsoft, quote, participants in Teams and on Whiteboard for the web can add a variety of built-in templates for meetings, workshops, decision-making, planning, design, thinking, and more. Coming later this month, you'll be able to pin chat messages to the top of the chat view in Microsoft Teams. You've always been able to pin, but they're going to be overhauling the way that it actually looks for users. We caught a quick glimpse of this during the Fluid component demo Microsoft shared a couple of weeks ago, but now that it's been made official and added to the roadmap, we should hopefully see it relatively soon. Quoting from the roadmap, quote, pin a Teams chat message to drive awareness and provide chat members with quick access to important content. Pinning will help your team stay in sync both on what matters most and what's relevant in a timely manner, end quote. Now everyone can appreciate that pun you shared forever ago without you having to type it out over and over again. Speaking of Fluid components, Microsoft has announced that they'll be coming to Teams chat this month. If you missed it, Fluid components are being positioned as dynamic objects that can be inserted across the Microsoft 365 universe, allowing colleagues to collaborate on things in real time, whether they happen to be in Teams or in Outlook, or, as Microsoft just recently announced, Whiteboard. To start, users can send a message in Teams with a table, action items, or a simple list that can be co-authored and edited by everyone in line without having to open up anything new. No word yet on when we can expect Outlook to pick up support, which we imagine will be the next one. But we're optimistic we'll see more movement on the roadmap related to this relatively soon. Soon, you can set default preferences when opening Office files in Microsoft Teams. So whether you're someone who likes the convenience of editing the file within the Teams app using Office Online, or whether you're a stalwart desktop power user. Now, this is one of those rare time-traveling features and is quoted as being set for May of 2021, which was last month. Best guess the intent was to put it out in June 2021. I have seen some indications that some users are already seeing the feature crop up, so maybe this was just a late addition. Regardless, we'll keep a close eye on this one, and we encourage you to do the same. We hopefully will see it in our tenants fairly soon. Lastly, to bring us on home, Microsoft Teams will soon pick up the ability to view pages of participants when in the large gallery view. When there are more than 9 participants, or 49 if you've enabled the big screen 49 square view, navigation controls will appear below the large gallery and video gallery, allowing you to view more video participants. Helpful if you're the kind of person who likes to personally greet everyone in a meeting, or if you're just curious to see who's actually paying attention. Not that you should care, focus on your own demons. That's the news. Back to you, Matt.
That was the news.
There we go. Thanks, Sean. Very nicely done.
Yeah.
We're still working our kinks out. That was good.
It's live. It's live.
Right, exactly. All right. So I must have missed the one in our list that we're going to have navigation for the 49 or the large gallery view. Does Zoom have that? You're a Zoom guy.
Yep, Zoom does have that, and that mention that I have at the end there about personally greeting everyone in a meeting. My department head, he does that when we don't do it often, but as people are filtering in, he uses that to make sure he says hello. You know, he used to every morning in the office take a lap around and say hello to everyone. So this is just kind of his digital version of that.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, no, so that'll be a nice thing to have, I think. What do you think?
It's interesting. I guess that number of people in a meeting, I don't know if I care. You can to the 49, so I don't know. Anyway, that one just kind of stuck out to me because I didn't see it earlier, but that's interesting. So what stood out for you this week?
That's a really good question. And to that I say yeah, come on.
This reeks of an Apple live event, you know?
Come on. Yeah, you gotta love the sizzle videos,
right?
huh?
Yeah. All right.
You know,
so what did you like about Whiteboard?
So I just love that they're paying attention to it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that is nice. You're right.
Whiteboard felt like one of those things that they just kind of like threw out there, and we were like, sure, I guess we do that.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure nobody on the Whiteboard team wants to hear.
No, but it wasn't even available for Android until like a month and a half ago or 2 months
ago. It certainly wasn't available for GCC or any of those.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I think it just barely crawled into web access or something like that. But
yeah,
regardless, I'm excited about that. They announced a bunch of new stuff that really brings them in line with some of the more active competitors in the space. You know, I mentioned a few, whether it was Mural or Miro or...
You can't say the two and not sound like you're saying the same word twice.
I know. They are two separate companies, I promise. Okay. Yep. Don't worry, we've got Klaxoon to help break us out of the M's. Right. Yes. But, you know, so you've got this dynamic canvas now that you can interact with, that you're going to be able to see like where cursors are as people are moving things. It's going to tap into the fluid framework, those fluid components. So you're going to be able to have live updating tables and lists that you can then share in Teams chats or in Outlook messages. Mm-hmm. But it's, you know, if you've interacted with Project Mocha, that weird skunkwork project that Microsoft did with Outlook, where it was kind of a fluid pinboard where you could just drop components on there. It has a lot of that to it, and it almost makes you think that it's built on similar technology. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited about it because I think that particularly as organizations start to think through what hybrid looks like, we need tools like this. And people, I know that my organization is already spending money on something that's not Whiteboard, because Whiteboard was not it. It didn't do what we needed it to do. And particularly when you're talking about being able to not scribble on a literal whiteboard, but actually do something that everybody can be on equal footing on, that's going to be really important.
Totally agree with that. I found Whiteboard in a couple sessions that I've done, like with teachers and especially teachers, they really like this, is that if you have a mobile device, especially a tablet, because you're best off with a tablet and a pen. So like my iPad and my Apple Pencil, opening up the Whiteboard app on the mobile device, having Teams open, share the whiteboard from your meeting, because every meeting has a whiteboard. You just have to activate it first to get access to it. And once you activate it, it's available in your Whiteboard app, whether that's through the browser or if that's, you know, through the mobile app. So you can actually be handwriting something live while, you know, talking about it at the same time and sharing that content live with everybody else, which I don't think a lot of people realize that, like, that feature set is there. I mean, is it going to be, you know, 100% in sync? It might be off by a couple seconds or whatever because you're uploading from two different devices, but it's totally doable. And,
sure.
You know, it can only benefit from, you know, added features and level setting features across all platforms. So like I said, you know, Android was forgotten until a couple months ago, and Whiteboard's been around for years at this point.
Yeah, iOS has been most favored nation on that one for sure.
Yeah, and even I think the iOS, especially the iPad OS version, I think was better than the Windows version of Whiteboard, actually. With the number of features and buttons and things.
Is.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, it's interesting how they are prioritizing what to do with what. So, yeah.
Yeah, so coming in August, I mean, that's going to be really great to see. Oh, there is one more thing.
That was a very Apple thing to do, too, by the way.
Come on. Matt, what about you? What caught your attention?
So this one is just kind of, seems dumb and obvious, but the fact that you will be able to choose which version of the Office apps you want to open when you open a file in Teams, I think is a big deal. The users that I work with, they don't love the web apps. They don't love the Teams, the web apps and Teams. They want to, they need their desktop versions of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and OneNote. So the fact that if you haven't seen this yet or what it looks like, I probably should have grabbed a screenshot. But if you open up a Files tab in a team and you click the More Actions button next to a file, an Office file, and then choose Open In, instead of just seeing in Teams, in desktop, or in browser, there'll actually be a new option that says Set Default. And that's where you're going to choose that. So I think it's super obvious progression. That's the kind of stuff that we need to see. But I think it's going to be one of those like breath of fresh air kind of things for a lot of people who still kind of look at the desktop apps as a bit of a security blanket, outside of the people that need like macros and things like that, or like you have to use the desktop app. But like, I don't know, I think the Teams versions of the apps.
How dare you? Office scripts exist.
Oh yeah, well, I'm grouping those together, but yes. So anyway, I think that's a nice progression of the feature, and it'll be nice for those people that want to be able to always push it to the desktop, which I think there's a very large percentage of people in the world that actually prefer that because they've been using the desktop version of the apps for their entire lives.
Yeah, I mean, Microsoft's fighting an uphill battle here, trying to corner everyone into the web UI, and the reality is that people just want their desktop applications. I know that my group just shot down mass adoption of Teams for the 10th time. We're a Slack shop, as you well know.
Right, yeah.
Because like my team is a team, my organization is just, they're full of multitaskers that want to have everything up and running. And sure, you can make the case that they can open up in the web browser, but Microsoft is selling this story, this vision of Teams as being the one-stop shop for everything. And so until you can pop out everything, this is going to be a net positive for everybody involved.
Yep. Nope. I agree with that. All right, cool. So that brings us to the upcoming events. We haven't talked about this in a while. So not a lot's changed since the last time we discussed events. And there's not a ton popping up this summer, but let's bring up the list for what we do have. So in July, we're going to see Microsoft Inspire, July 26th, SharePoint Fest Chicago, August 9th, the North American Collaboration Summit in Branson, Missouri. September 15th, Commsverse, which is in the UK, and September 20th is SharePoint Fest, Washington, D.C. An interesting aspect of all of this is that the last four are all in person. So things are definitely
Chicago's
changing.
Really breaking the seal on that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I don't know, kind of a nice progression in the world as of right now. So I think that's pretty good. So that's all I got for upcoming events. You can always check out the full list of events at the link that was shown at the bottom, which I'll just show one more quick time here. And there's, again, it's not a whole lot, but definitely keep an eye out if you want to be looking for events to be attending over the course of the rest of this year.
Yeah, and you'd better believe some of the names that are presenting at these conferences, that there's going to be a little bit of news eking out. We, of course, got Dan Holm revealing Visio getting packaged into Office
Visio for
365.
free, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, like, who knows what else they're going to be eking out over the next ones to kind of encourage people paying attention again to these community events.
Yep. And I think it's probably fair to say that all of the Microsoft big events, so like, Inspire is next month, but Ignite's probably going to be in the fall. I think for the time being, they are going to remain digital and virtual only.
These things, as you and I well know, these things get planned months and months in advance. Yeah. And I imagine they waited to hedge their bets. But if I were a betting person, and I'm not, but I'm going to say this out loud, I would not be surprised to see no in-person events at all until next year.
From Microsoft itself. Yeah,
exactly.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. All right, cool. So why don't we pull it over to some Q&A? I don't know, Sean, have you been looking at the comments and
there was
checking on here?
there was one. I just want to go ahead and take this opportunity to shame Tim for missing the last couple of Lime events. What are you doing, Tim? Working?
Yeah, how dare you?
And of course, to echo what Lauren is saying, they are all recorded. These all end up on the Jump To channel, so be sure to check that out. Of course, you can always follow Matt or I on Twitter. We tend to brag about our postings as well there. But here's the this is for a little bit of inside baseball on the Apple side of things. John Prosser is we'll call him a notorious Apple leaker. Not always because he's on the money. I think he's got like an 82% yay or nay, but no, we're certainly not the ones that'll be breaking anything out.
God, no.
But once it hits the public sphere in a way that doesn't jeopardize Matt's MVP status.
Thank you. I was going to say, none of this ever comes from me.
No. Yeah, so we won't be taking on breaking news first, but as soon as it's on the internet somewhere and we have plausible deniability, we'll bring it to you.
All right. Here's one. So let's pop into the fluid components. So I totally agree with you. That loving fluid components. I think it's just such a great. I like I said in the last episode that I did not expect them to be so practical and usable and helpful on a day-to-day basis. Based on the initial launch of them, it looked to me like more of a developer tool that like, oh, I'll put this box, this building block into various different apps or whatever. But the execution of this in Teams is just really, really nice. When it comes to screen readers, that's a good question, man. I have no idea how they're going to do accessibility with some of these interactive things. I mean, it is for some of it is just text, but for a lot of the rest of it, it is not necessarily that.
I mean, from my stance, I mean, I haven't tested it myself. I think the developer page for Fluid Components is still up. I'll have to go check for myself. But if I were to, kind of take a step back and look at how they're doing it to start, I mean, it's really structured data. Like, look at all the examples they're giving. They're giving tables, they're giving lists, they're giving really, really simple use cases. Yep. I would bet that accessibility is playing into that conservatism a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that screen readers can take advantage of it. What is that going to sound like with this kind of like dynamic, new text is being added as we go? That'll be interesting to see. But I would imagine that accessibility is somewhere within the conversation, if not the one driving exactly what use cases are coming out on day one.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's fair. And if there are any other questions, feel free to jump in. Actually, so this is another good one actually from Tim. So do we think that fluid components on Whiteboard will make it competitive?
I mean, the sizzle videos are always such a hard thing to extrapolate, because Microsoft's really great at over-promising functionality on day one with those videos. But I think that much as with most Microsoft products that are competitive with other companies whose whole job is one thing, it's going to be good enough, for organizations that are interested in saving a couple of bucks. I think my favorite example, of course, is SurveyMonkey and Microsoft Forms. Like SurveyMonkey's whole universe until it was rebranded as Motive 2 weeks ago was surveys and data collection in that sense. Microsoft Forms was a feature of the Microsoft 365 suite. And so just by that very nature of focus, there were some disconnects there. So I imagine that's probably going to be the case with Whiteboard. I hope I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's hard to know for sure.
Yep. No, definitely agree. Let's see. Were there any other ones that I saw that popped up?
I've got one. When are we going to do a Jump To 365 squad event? That's a great question. Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to get Andy out from North Carolina, but
I think it'd be doable. And we need Niels from. It's Niels coming from Denmark. That's going to be the hard part. That will
I assume Neil is itching to get out. So I mean, I'm not.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, M365 Collab Conference in December could very well be an opportunity for people to get together. Definitely.
Not that we're announcing anything just yet, but if we were,
December, Yeah, right. I mean, the conference exists. It is going to be in Vegas in December. Whether or not we're going to be able to attend is a different story. But yeah, we could definitely keep an eye out for trying to do that.
Yeah, so I mean, stay tuned. Only if you bring stroop waffles. Yeah.
Hey, whenever I'm at a conference and I'm speaking, I always have a whole stack of stickers, Jump 365 stickers, and I even have some buttons left over.
I'm sorry,
so
are those stroopwafels? Those aren't. How dare you?
They're not stroopwafels.
Those
Sorry.
to stroopwafels. I can't get that in my coffee.
I can't buy 1,000 of them in a distributable format that lasts for a long time.
It's at the pleasure of your convenience. That's great to know.
Obviously,
this is what he
that's how
thinks
this all
of you,
works.
people.
That's how it all works. All right, so I think that probably just about does it.
Yeah.
We will be back next week, and I think, Sean, you and I are still going to decide what we're going to do for the July 4th holiday in the U.S. It's Independence Day, the week after next, and the holiday, I believe, or the observed holiday is the Monday, which would be when we would normally film. And I'll be out of town with really bad Wi-Fi, so there's a chance I probably wouldn't be able to take part anyway. But we will figure that out. And talk about
we'll
that
announce that definitively next week, but definitely not going to be on that Monday. As to what it looks like that week, we'll announce next week for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. Well, as always, a like and subscribe is much appreciated. Leave a comment below to start a further discussion after the live event is over. And Sean, thanks so much for for jumping in.
Before I forget. Come on.
Damn it. Sean, no thanks for you for joining me this week, but thanks to everybody else for joining this week, and we can't wait to see you again next week.
Take care, gang.